Hello, I am Pavlo, bringer of your daily dose of Ukrainian accent. Today we are going to talk about not a new but still really great gadget. It's earphones made by Kiwi Ears named Astral. They were released somewhere at the spring of this year, and on nowadays market they can be considered as not new. But in this case, they offer a great tuning and they still really worth your attention. It's a hybrid model with 10 mm dynamic driver with bioceramic diaphragm, whatever that could mean, I'm not sure, and 6 balanced armature drivers. But Kiwi Ears used really unusual approach and created earphones that they target directly towards audio professionals and audiophiles. And this promise sounds really interesting. Price is $300. I will add link to the Ensemble shop in the description. And let's have a closer look. As you can see yourself, package looks pretty attractive. Kiwi Ears used this unusual peach color, something in between pink and yellow. Nice photo of earphones on the front side. Here you can see all technical specifications, 105 decibels of sensitivity and 23 ohms of impedance, 1 dynamic and 6 balanced armature drivers. So company's website and a bit of additional information. Inside, as usual, we are getting a black cardboard box. On top goes earpieces themselves. Let's take them out. And underneath you'll find also manual with warnings that you should read it before using, but let's be honest, it's not our way. In the accessory set you'll get cable, 2 replaceable connectors, 3.5mm and balanced pentacon. You'll get 3 pair of silicone tips and a bit of spare filters that you can glue to the spout. So as you can see, of course, a bit more tips would be a nice addition, but at the same time you're getting all you need to actually use these earphones. Here are earphones themselves, nice faceplate with these shimmering pieces underneath, company logo on top. They are not too big, but definitely slightly bigger than usual. Unfortunately, they are not transparent, so you can't explore the internals. And this black plastic gives a little bit fingerprints, but at the same time, it's a classical design approach, nice shape that fits ergonomically into ears. Nothing is sticking, everything is smooth and fitting nicely into ears. Spouts have average length, but they have really proper design, so they anatomically fitting nicely into ears and provide slightly above average sound isolation. There is a vent hole here, probably for dynamic driver, which is located somewhere in this area, but it's more of my assumptions. There is lip for holding the tips and protective grill, and that's pretty much it. Nice, strict, but at the same time not dull design. Stock cable uses 2 pin connectors, so no recessed sockets or something like that, meaning that if you want, you easily get some third-party cable without any problems. But I don't think you will need something else. Stock cable looks nice and feels really well built. There are ear hooks, but they are really soft, so it's more like ear guides. Cable actually is not super soft, but at the same time it's not sturdy, so it's really comfortable in everyday usage, and the microphonic effect is low. If you want to reduce it further, you can use this chin slider. And here is splitter, and after the splitter, cable goes just braided to this connector for connectors. And here everything is absolutely simple. We already started to getting use. used to the replaceable connectors, so just match notch and groove and push it, and here it is. So no locks or something like that, just basic friction locking, but at the same time it's more than enough for vast majority of cases. So replaceable jack is a really good addition. Overall presentation and everything external is really great here. For a few minutes I was thinking about the word I can use to describe the tuning of these earphones, and then I thought that probably the best word here will be wise, because it's a great example of how to achieve goals in tuning natural but at the same time natural earphones without any excessive coloration. You'll need a reasonable amount of balanced armatures, 6 in this case, like not too much to make that marketing hype, but at the same time enough to give a good substance to both mid and high frequencies. And on the very bottom of the sonic spectrum, you just put a dynamic driver and tune it the way it's tuned here. It provides substance, it provides the deepest bass, but at the same time it's not dominating on the mid bass, giving you good technicalities, but at the same time really solid foundation. So overall you are getting natural resolving, but at the same time not dry or monitoring tuning. So let's talk about everything step by step. Bass goes to maximum depth, and it has a noticeable accent on the deepest layers of bass. But at the same time, this accent is not making them bass head, and it's not making them over dominating with deep bass, because low frequencies are really well controlled here. You're getting nice impact, you're getting really great substance, but at the same time you won't get that fatiguing or over dominating mids. At the same time, mid bass and upper bass are on the same level as mids, and that allows these earphones to give you all nuances and details, both bass and mid frequencies. Also, they are really coherent, and all drivers are stitched really well, with absolutely perfect transitioning from dynamic drivers to balanced armatures, and for the balanced armatures from one band to other. So great texturing, good amount of small nuances on the low frequencies, but at the same time not dominating. And actually I can't call these earphones bass head, because despite of great substance they are not adding bass, they're just delivering that bass that is present in the record in a tasteful way. So if you like additional weight, probably it's not a model for you. And first example is Diesel Power by the Prodigy. So this track has really powerful bass, and you getting this power, but at the same time it's not overwhelming you and leaving enough space for the other instruments. And Spitfall by Pain of Salvation, acoustic version with really great textures on the low frequencies, and pretty noticeable accent on the bass in the record. And this all delivered really well, but at the same time bass is not dominating over other instruments and vocal, giving you great sense of presence, but at the same time nice amount of technicalities. Mids are main star of the show here. They are natural, not too dry, and at the same time not too colored. So almost zero additional emotions here, but what is present in the record will be performed with great technicalities and with a good amount of nuances. There is no boost in macro dynamics, so that makes these earphones pretty critical for the quality of records. Because if something is recorded in a dull way, they won't add any emotions or weight or something. But of course, with great sources and great material, you will be immersed into music with all that nuances. but at the same time they won't be like nitpicking earphones that will show you any issues. So when I'm speaking about critical here, I mean that it should be emotional and well mastered record, not like absolute perfection or like super high res flag. Imaginary stage is not huge, it's above average both in width and in depth, but you don't getting this huge, spacious, three-dimensional stage. But at the same time, you getting really nice and accurate layer separation in depth and rather good positioning of the instruments on the imaginary stage. So stage is not huge, but it's really nicely built. And first example is Sentimental by Porcupine Tree. So, as any other work by Steven Wilson, it's saturated with different nuances and details, and it requires that balance that these earphones can deliver. Good detalization, but at the same time without excessive dry or monitoring type of sound. And second example, Voices by the Slayer. And actually, in my subjective taste, these earphones fitting great for such type of music. Really tight, really engaging bass drum kicks, enough of speed to deliver all that aggression and distorted guitars and vocal, and nice, not super highlighted treble to give you all the percussions. So enough of speed and technicality to give you all necessary aggression, but no excessive focus on the micro contrast to make it fatiguing. And treble. Actually, treble has really nice extension and surprisingly good layering for this price range. Not perfect, but really nice. Probably amount of balanced armatures used here gives enough of substance to deliver a really saturated treble. At the same time, it's not harsh, not sibilant. Of course, when some sibilance is present in the record, like in Iron Maiden, for example, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, it will be represented. So if you're sensitive for high frequencies, you'll get all that treble you don't like. But at the same time, these earphones doesn't try to attempt to give additional boost for the high frequencies to make them super airy or something like that. So really good basic overtones and decent extended overtones, and also pretty decent amount of layering with proper attacks and decays give you really nice and pretty rich layering. But also you need to keep in mind that records should be of appropriate quality, because often modern records suffer from the bad treble. And first example, it's John Coltrane, Resolution. You know this record, like it's probably something in between of music and ecstatic prayer, and a lot of instruments, lot of high frequencies, and all that requires nice representation. These earphones probably not at 100% of performance for this track, but still great result for this price, and overall great result if you want to get really rich treble without breaking your piggy bank. And Hoff Ensemble, the elder, absolute stellar quality of the record, like enjoyable, light-hearted music, but with tons of nuances. And that superb quality means that there are tons of overtones in the high frequencies that these earphones deliver on a pretty great level. In terms of pairing, I really recommend some high-end dongle or some good desktop deck or some mid-plus level player for these earphones. They don't require too much power or something like that, but at the same time, thanks to their technical nature, they have a good amount of scalability with source. Of course, you can start using them with some budget player or dongle, and then you can just grow your source keeping the same earphones. But if you want to start like from zero and push them to appropriate level, you need some decent source for them, because they can deliver you all that nuances and technicalities of the good source. Speaking about the comparisons, just a pair of models, Heidi's MS5, for example, is kind of opposite to this model, because MS5 trying to put a lot of accents at different parts of sonic spectrum to make sound more engaging, more colored, while this model is more restrained and more natural, and in many cases more natural. And the FiOS FH15, FiOS hybrid model, they have more weight, they are focusing more on that dynamic driver, giving you more firmness on the lower mids and bass, giving you more impact and substance, and slightly more aggression in the treble area, while this model is trying to be more on the natural side of things. So overall, actually, this model is really worth that hype that it caused, and actually, it's still a really great investment, even after the half a year after its release. So, not all models like appear, cause some hype, and then disappear. Some models deserve to stay with us for quite some time, and here is one of such models. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course, have a great day.